Reef McInnes is about to sign a 2-year contract extension. We're looking at 2 mid-season draft picks. What does it all mean? Let's talk about it. Before we go into it, this video could not be made possible without the help of Swish. You get 10% off if you use the code SWOOP or follow the link down below. Mother's Day is coming up. If you've got an engagement, a birthday party, you want to send your best friend a Nick Dacos hello message, or Scott Penderbury or Jack Crisp, all the information is down below. Follow the link. It'll help Swish know that you're using, that I'm helping you guys. 10%. I appreciate it. Thank you, Swish, and thank you for using that link. So we know recently that Reef McInnes had ruptured his ACL, which is just, when I found out the news on Sunday, like when it actually came out, and that's what it was, it wrecked my entire morning. Like I literally, no word of a lie, and you guys know how emotional I am, cried. Literally cried. Heart breaks for him. We based our whole summer, our whole preseason and game plan around him being that third tall, that intercept defender, and he was just like, he had a really, really good game. The round one, I was going to say round two, but it was round one against Port Adelaide, and then he goes off in the first 5 or so minutes, and it looks so innocuous. That's what I hate about the ACL. It just looks so innocuous when it happened. I thought it was an ankle, and I would have been happy with 6 weeks of an ankle injury. But now we lose Reef for at least, 9 months, let's just say. And that's absolutely heartbreaking, especially for him. It was his last year of his contract. So he got his contract extended right after all the free agencies, all the trade stuff happened last year. And this was his quote unquote last shot at sort of a redemption. And it looked like he just looked unnatural. He looked unnatural in the back line. And now it's come out, Tom Morris is reporting that he's going to sign a 2-year contract extension. So not even just 1 year. Like, how is that for peace of mind for him, that he can go through his 12-month rehab, let's just say, with the knowledge that he's safe. He's got a 2-year contract and the club's really backing him in. He's still a very young kid, and he's going to be our future. He is our future. And I think he's going to do wonders next year. What I do like about an ACL injury, and I've talked about this with Dr. Ethan Alul, the osteopath as well, is that he can still get into the gym, still work on his upper body, so gain a lot more upper body to be able to sort of, jostle with opponents and stuff like that. It's going to be a long road. We saw it with Harvey Harrison. We saw it with Dan McStay recently as well. And I just know that McStay, Harrison will take Reef underneath their wings because they've just recently been there. And they're really, really going to help him through it, because we know that rehab is such a lonely place. But if there's one place you want to sort of go through rehab, it's at the Collingwood Football Club, because we don't, our motto just isn't side by side. This team and the supporters live it every single day. But what does this mean for us going forward? Now, yes, obviously it means that Billy Frampton probably comes in, or you can look at a Charlie Dean. Josh Dacos put up Jacob Ryan's name as well. I think Ryan, great play. He's been doing really well in the VFL practice match and in the previous match, the first round one match. Has a great preseason. Not as tall as Reef. He's not going to be that tall sort of defender. He's more of that half-backer guy. But it does mean that Frampton gets another go. Charlie Dean probably gets another go as well. But it also means that he's going to be on the long-term injury list, and that means that we get 1 mid-season draft pick. Now, a couple of weeks ago, Ash Johnson broke his leg, and that is just another thing, that he was coming good as well, and this was his last year of his contract, and he was having that sort of redemption arc where, he was smashing it at training, had a really good couple of match sim games and preseason games with the VFL side. But now he's going to be, you would think, it's at least a 6-7 month injury. You would think that they would put him on the long-term injury list, because we won't see him this side of finals. There's no hope in hell. So it looks like, and nothing's sort of come out because the mid-season draft is in May, but it looks like we'll have 2 active picks in the mid-season draft. Now, the biggest question here is, one, obviously, who do you take in the mid-season draft, or what position do you take in the mid-season draft? Now, we've seen, Ash Johnson came from the mid-season draft. We saw Aiden Begg. Who else have we gotten? Josh Carmichael was the mid-season draft. Ilary Smith was a mid-season draft. But the mid-season draft poster boy is Jai Newcomb. Now, this guy, I don't know how he got to the mid-season draft. Obviously, he was overlooked, right? That's a rhetorical question. But he is the mid-season draft poster boy. And I think D'Ambrosio from was at the Bombers and now at Hawthorn. He was a mid-season draft pick, if memory serves me correctly. But with Collingwood having two options, and with our strategy now of not picking best available, it's picking for the future in the draft. So we picked West, Cochrane, and Will Hayes. So they're much more future projects than, we need an inside mid straight away, or what's the best available, which has been our policy for the last 10 years. So Justin Leppich and the team and Shane O'Brien now are going to, I reckon, hit this hard with, I think one will be a project player and one will be a player ready to go. Now, I don't have names because there hasn't been any sort of names super floated around for this draft at the moment. So I'm really talking positional wise. The one name I've seen thrown up though a couple of times is Tomlinson. Is he a guy that would get games in our side, or is he just like a sort of Frampton clone where he's that fullback, that big body fullback? Would you rather play Tomlinson over Frampton, or how would that work? I don't think they go for the older sort of players at the moment. I think they go for a mid-aged bracket player. But the one area that we definitely need to cover on is that back line. We need another tall intercept marking defender. Because if we wanted to have a stopgap defender, you go Billy Frampton. But I think they'll look to replace Reef's role. And do they look to replace Ash Johnson's role, just a like for like? Do we look for another forward, or do we trust, if one of our three forwards get injured, do we trust a Charlie West to jump up there, or do we trust a Mason Cox to get up there, which is who we used when Brody Myercheck was injured against Footscray? So they're the questions that are on my mind at the moment. So the players that can nominate for the mid-season draft will do so in the next month or so, towards the middle to the end of April. I think last year there was about 400 players that nominated, and only, a few, or most of the teams got a choice, but it was only like 18 or so picks all up, I think. So what I'm really, really, really looking for is giving VFL guys the opportunity. Now, we've seen this happen multiple times, and you only got to look into our own backyard. I know at the start of the year, there was a lot of talk about Curtis Taylor possibly getting picked up in the mid-season draft. I'd need to see a little bit more from Taylor as to how that goes. But one guy I really, really like from Collingwood's VFL is Riley Mason. He kicked 4 goals on the weekend and was on absolute fire. So he's 23, so classified as a mature age prospect. He kicked for Goulburn Valley, the league last year for Seymour. He kicked 72 goals in 18 games, 195 centimeters. He's still a little bit like not built like an AFL player, so he can work on his body a little bit more. But wouldn't that be absolutely incredible, giving these VFL guys a chance? And Riley Mason, if he keeps this up, he could get snapped up in the mid-season draft pick. But again, remember, the higher Collingwood are on the ladder, we won't have the first sort of pick. So bottom of the ladder gets the first pick, just like a normal sort of draft. If they've got a mid-season draft pick there, if they've got a list spot available. But I would absolutely not say no to taking Riley Mason if he's there. But again, if he's going to be kicking, 2 to 4 goals every game, let's just say, for example, someone's going to snap him up straight away. We saw that with a couple of our VFL players last season as well, and in the draft as well. A couple of our VFL players got picked up. So the names, to me, Riley Mason would be a really good one, but we do definitely need a post down back. We do need a halfback, a tall halfbacker that is going to play that third intercepting marking role, like Reef McInnes, or a lockdown defender, which is we don't really have besides Billy Frampton. And I've seen the comments, so I understand where you guys are coming from. I think we're flushed with cash with midfielders. We don't need any more midfielders. God, please, if we pick another inside mid or just a midfielder, I'll lose my mind, especially with Ed Allen in the wings, with Finn McRae in the wings. So I think logically, the only 2 spots that we could be going for are someone for a big post for the back line, big post for the forward line. And Riley Mason, right now, as I'm recording this, is the name that's sticking out to me. I just wanted to make this video because I was so happy that Reef is going to get a 2-year contract extension. But I know that looking forward, those 2 mid-season draft picks are going to be like gold. So let me know your thoughts down below. Have you heard any names that you would think might be around that mid-season draft pick that we would possibly go for? What positions do you want to go for? Let me know your thoughts down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.